Hello and welcome back to World of Tech. We're continuing on with RailCraft, so let's just jump straight in. Last time I showed you how you can make the coke oven, what the coke oven does, and how to make the vanilla rails in RailCraft. Now I'm just going to move on straight to the rails that you can make in RailCraft. You can see some of them here. But before I do that, I'm just going to show you this setup that I've made with the coke ovens. Now, with RailCraft, you can automate systems slightly, a bit like in BuildCraft and the like, except it requires more rails, and specifically these loaders and unloaders, which you can see. Now, to make an unloader or a loader, it's really quite simple. I've just got philosopher's stone, so we don't have to go back inside to get something. You just make a bow and arrow. Well, you make a bow, because then you need a dispenser. And I just realised I don't have any redstone. Just give me a second. Only need a couple of bits. But yeah, so once you've got your bow, this is all vanilla, so it shouldn't be too difficult to do. You make a dispenser, but then you also need a new special block that's been added with RailCraft, and that's this detector storage. Now, depending on which way around you put them, if you put the dispenser on top of the detector, it makes an item loader, and then if you put the detector on top of the dispenser, it makes an item unloader. So that's how you make the loaders and unloaders. And now you can see here these different rails. They are different, and I'll just quickly go through what they do. This is a boarding track. So when it goes on, it'll get held until a redstone signal is, well, put into it, and it'll get thrown off in the direction of the arrow, and you can change the direction of the arrow with the crowbar. These tracks are holding tracks. They're similar to boarding tracks, except they'll just throw the cart in whatever direction it was travelling at the time. So you can see there, it's just went over, got held for a bit, thrown this way, back, and thrown that way. Now, the ones on the side are getting coal coke, so I've got quite a lot of that. The ones underneath are getting the creosote oil. So yeah, I've got a fair amount of both now. Anyway, now that that's done, I'll show you the different rails you can make. And I'll just here quickly go through the holding track. So push the button, and there, get held. I'm not going to move again until a redstone signal is put into it, and and there goes the same way that you were going originally. Now this is one of the other new ones. It's a junction track. In vanilla, it's, well, really hard to make your tracks cross over each other because you need them on different levels. But with RailCraft, you can just make a junction track, which does exactly what it says. It is a minecart junction. It's a little bit disorientating when you go in a loop, but it's fine. That's alright. You don't usually have them in that sort of configuration. Now this is a gated track. If you want your minecarts to go through a gate, you just have one of these gated tracks, and when a redstone signal passes through it, it'll open the gate. So as you can see here, I've got these detector blocks, which instead of detecting storage, they'll detect a player in a minecart that's going over it. So I'll just flick that, and there, you can see, well, you probably didn't, I'll do it again. I went through the gate because it opened, and if there was no player detectors there, if there was no redstone signal at all, it's getting a bit dark, then that gate would stay shut and you'd just hit it. Moving swiftly on, I've got the suspended track. Now this adds a bit of Indiana Jones to Minecraft rails because it allows you to have them, as the name suggests, suspended over a 2-block gap, which you can use to make, well, like Indiana Jones. And there, you just go over it. Simple. Just go over it again. And that just acts as an ordinary minecart track, except it's, well, suspended, and you can't jump on these tracks. Next up is a one-way track, and it kind of speaks for itself what it is. It's a one-way track, so I'll flick that, I'll go that way, fine, but nope, I can't go the other way. Now that'll only happen if there is a redstone signal going through it, so you can make a clever little system with that. Now this thing is the control track, and control isn't really sort of a alright term for it. It works because it does sort of control the tracks, but it's a bit difficult to explain. What it does is it just, in the direction of the arrow, it provides a little bit of a push. It's not a booster track, and it won't immediately apply the boost. It's a very, very weak boost. So I'll go this way, fine, but then as I go this way I get gradually slowed down by the boost and then sent back the other way. So if you've got a system of minecarts that all need to be going one way, in between them you could just have a couple of these. It'll just keep it going in the right direction. Now this is a disembarking track. If you want your minecart to immediately get out of a minecart at a certain point, you just have a disembarking track, and as it says, you just get thrown out of the cart and the minecart keeps going, which is kind of good. You can use that in adventure maps and stuff like that. But moving swiftly on. Now this is one of the... oh, I forgot the minecart. Oops, sorry. But this is one of the fun things in RailCraft. It's a launcher track, and it's best described by showing what it does. Yep, it's, as it says, it launches you, and it can launch you a very short distance, or, as I had it on the maximum, a very large distance. I've got my render distance, I believe, on tiny, short, and I can't see my house unless I turn that way, but I still can't really see it. So I'll just come back on another launcher track. And there we have it. That's the launcher track. Now, and another annoying thing about minecarts in vanilla is that to make them go up, it needs to be, as in, like that, to that, to that. But sometimes that doesn't really work. If you want it to going up a very short area, it's not very practical to do that. So this has been added to RailCraft. It is the elevator tracks. Now, these have two different states, on and off, like other things, like a power track. But when it's powered, you could go up. But when it's not powered, you go down. And the good thing about these is they act as a ladder whenever. So you don't even need to be in a cart to go on them. You can just walk on them. And when you go up, you just get spat onto the nearest mine track. Same when you go down. Who cares if I just like broke my legs there. And just show you that. And it's relatively quick, going up and then coming back down. Brilliant for making minecart elevators. Now that's all of the basic tracks you can make. Now there are high-speed versions of some of these. There are, for instance, the booster track and get a high-speed booster track and get a high-speed ordinary track, high-speed junction track, stuff like that. And that requires a lot of expensive stuff and a blast furnace, which I may show you. And also, there are a couple of others. I'll just type in here. Sorry about that little jump. I don't know why that happened. But anyway, as I was saying, you've got a couple of others. You've got wooden tracks. I haven't really used those. You've got high-speed tracks, as I was saying. There's switch tracks, which literally is, as they say, it's an ordinary straight track, but then you can put a redstone current into them to... well, I think it's a redstone current. But anyway, it changes the direction that the track goes. And then there's these train tracks, coupler and decoupler tracks, which turn minecarts, singular minecarts, into trains, and then with the coupler track, and then subsequently with the decoupler splits them apart again. And so that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching.